to me, my Saturday Night Losers. I am Jesse, the Saturday Night Loser. It has been a long time since I've planned ass in front of camera and spoke to... Is it possible to have negative subscribers at this point? If it is possible, I make it possible. I have been, as you may or may not know, I have been off world for the last couple months, but I am back, and you can see we are in the red chair position, which kind of sounds terrible if you think about it. Assume the red chair position. Now, we are in the Newsbox Studios, but we are in a corner where we record the Red Chair Show. If I could turn this camera around and you can see the mess that has become of the Newsbox Studios, it would horrify you as much as it horrifies me that it was allowed to become in such disrepair while I was off world. I'm in the process of fixing it up, and over the next couple weeks we will be bringing back many of the old shows, the Red Chair Show and Saturday Night Losers, in its proper condition. I was going to say position. So consider this a stripped down version of the mighty Saturday Night Losers. Also stripped from this is Khalil from Caster's Corner, who we usually go to for a live segment. Khalil right now is in San Diego Comic-Con, which is going on this weekend, which, by the way, we're going to spend this whole episode talking about. So consider this not only a stripped down version of Saturday Night Losers, but consider this part one of our San Diego Comic-Con coverage. Because when Khalil comes back, we're going to talk at length about his experiences out there and what has happened over the course of the con. So that's where we stand. That's what's been going on. Why don't I spend just a little less time and start talking about San Diego Comic-Con? Of course, it's going on right now this weekend. There has been a metric fuck ton of information, as always, that comes out of this con. It's like Toy Fair in February, but on steroids. There's so much I can't possibly cover it all. I can't possibly cover it on the-newsbox.com. That's my website, the-newsbox.com. So I'm going to try and cover what I consider the highlights, what I'm looking forward to here on part one of our coverage of San Diego Comic-Con. Let's start this whole thing off with what's going on with DC. So this is not the biggest news to come out of Hall H of today, but I think hopefully it's indicative of the direction that DC's heading. As it turns out, it's been announced that Warner Brothers and DC, for their cinematic universe, are no longer going to refer to it as the DC Extended Universe, but they're going to call it the Worlds of DC. Is this the biggest story? Hell no. Does it even fucking matter in the grand scheme? No, not really. Where DC is at as compared to Marvel and their cinematic universe is pathetic. However, I feel like maybe if there's anything that's a positive step in the right direction, it could be this. It sounds like they're going to finally embrace the multiverse. Let Marvel do their thing. Let them do the shared universe. This is a way for DC to hopefully bring themselves out of this terrible position they're in and distance themselves from the Snyderverse and start something anew. That being said, let's talk about that Titans trailer. Not so much differentiating themselves from that Snyderverse with that Titans trailer. Now, I, as opposed to most of the people that I've spoken to, am not nearly offended by this trailer as they are. I see some promise in it. The kid playing Dick Grayson, I think seems like a good match. That Robin costume is excellent. Don't know what it's going to look like for Nightwing, but I really dig the Robin costume. Of course, it's dark. That's the big problem. And the big thing is that he said, fuck Batman. Do I care? In the context of the show, in the context of who Dick Grayson is at this moment in his life when he's trying to differentiate himself from Batman, I can see some anger. I don't really have a problem with it. him killing people, that's a bit of a problem. That goes against Batman's ethos, but of all the things that are wrong with that trailer, that's the least problematic for me. Raven, it looks like, if not the story arc, then maybe the series will revolve around her and who she is. I like Raven. I don't have a problem with that as well. My problems come in with the rest of the cast. I'm not a big fan of Hawk or Dove. Don't care. Beast Boy, while sort of looks like Beast Boy, I just have a very bad feeling about this. But the thing that is totally off and could put the whole thing off for me is Starfire. That Starfire is terrible. And I hate judging things on pictures, on trailers, but I think they totally and completely missed the mark on Starfire. Nothing against the actress. I don't know her. I don't know her work. But the look, and I feel like the direction at this point in time is not Starfire, and it's just terrible. We shall see. It's going to premiere on the DC streaming verse later this fall, 2018, when it starts up. We'll see, man. We'll see. Speaking of trailers, let's talk about a couple other things. Let's talk about Aquaman. Aquaman trailer was released today. Building on Jason Momoa's performance in the Justice League, but still differentiating themselves from the Snyder Universe. The trailer looks good. The one thing, I guess if I'm nitpicking, I think Mara's hair is way too red. I think it just dial back that redness, but whatever. It's Amber Heard looks fine. whatever, it's an inside joke. She looks good. But it looks like it's going to be a good movie. Origin story, but in this case, I don't have a problem with an origin story because not many people are aware of Aquaman, who he is. So it seems like it's okay. Besides him talking to fish, which I'm glad they're embracing that whole joke and I think they'll turn it to their advantage. Atlantis to me looks like the Waterworld, which I cannot for the life of me remember the name of from the Phantom Menace. What the fuck was the name of that planet? It wasn't Naboo. But anyway, whatever that Waterworld was, where the Gungans lived, maybe it was Naboo. Yeah, maybe that's what it was. It was Naboo. That's what Atlantis looks like, only a little bit brighter. The color tone, they are doing their best to say, hey, this is not Zack Snyder. I mean, the whole thing looks like it's drawn in crayon. But whatever. Actually, I do have a pretty good feeling about. What I don't have much of a good feeling about is the Shazam trailer. Now, as of yesterday, I could be quoted as saying that Shazam is going to be worse than Batman and Robin, the George Clooney picture from the 90s. I've never seen Batman and Robin, but I hear it's pretty terrible. Yeah, it just does not look good. That costume is awful. I don't know. Now, you're going to come at me and say that, I'm complaining that they're too dark. It's true. But I think that they're not being smart about their comedy. What it looks like to me, it looks like a bad teen movie. That kind of humor. They need to be smart funny. Just because Marvel is humorous doesn't mean you just throw stupid jokes. I swear to God, I hope that's not what it is. However, with the trailer, I do have the smallest glimmer of hope that this could be a good movie. The first half of the trailer looks pretty good with Billy Batson. Of course, the kid is wearing the Aquaman shirt. I caught that. I'm not usually that eagle-eyed, but I did catch that. It's when he becomes Shazam that I have the problem, because obviously it's going to be about the kid being in an adult body like Freaky Friday, learning his superpowers, sort of akin to the Greatest American Hero. I don't know. I just hope it's not. I hope they're smart about the humor and they just don't do goofy, dumb humor in this movie just because, again, the Snyderverse is so dark. We'll see. I don't have high expectations, and maybe that's how I should go into all of DC's movies. Moving forward, still from Hall H, couple other trailers that we have. I should have tucked this in with when I talked about Titans. A Stargirl TV series was also announced, produced by Jeff Johns. He's bringing a live-action Stargirl to the DC Universe based on the character he co-created, Courtney Whitmore, which is in memory of his late sister. In the comics, Courtney is the stepdaughter to the original Star-Spangled Kid. She gets the staff from Starman and becomes Stargirl. I don't know. I feel a little bit that Jeff Johns is trying to push things down our throat, but whatever. It's his prerogative. It's being produced by Flash, executive produced by Flash and Arrowverse, Greg Berlanti. 13 episodes is set to premiere on the DC Universe streaming service in 2019. On the CW, and again being executive produced by Greg Berlanti, man, he's got like the golden touch. Talk about fucking Midas. Batwoman. Now, this hasn't been picked up by the CW yet, but I would bet if it's not picked up by CW, it's going to end up on the DC Universe streaming service. Batwoman is set to, of course, was already previously announced, I believe, by Steve Amell a while ago, that Batwoman was going to be part of this year's Arrowverse crossover that's coming in December. Well, it's announced that they are producing a Batwoman TV series based in Gotham. Of course, Kathy Kane as Batwoman, lesbian superhero. I mean, good. I don't see why this can't happen. It looks good. I don't have a problem with Batwoman. Set to premiere for 2019. My thing is, I think, and I know that we have reached peak superhero. I believe that we are past peak superhero, and it's at the point where it's too much. Nothing against Batwoman or Stargirl or any of these shows. I just think we have reached the point where it's overkill. But that remains to be seen. Still talking about DC, let's talk about toys. Okay? DC Collectibles. If you know me, how are we running here? Good. If you know me, and I know you don't know me, but I love DC Collectibles. Oh, my heart. It belongs to DC Collectibles. I have long loved DC Collectibles. Oh, such a fanboy. Since they were known as DC Direct, and even beyond that. Right before San Diego Comic-Con, they released their upcoming wares that were going to be shown at at San Diego Comic-Con. So much, my friends. So much. They've got a brand new big Barda Bombshells statue coming out. I love the Bombshells. Oh, I love to see that line still continuing. Of course, the new Harley Quinn statue that's coming out. Batman animated figures coming out, but Justice League animated figures as well that were announced to be part of the DC Universe streaming service. Awesome stuff. But two things that really caught my eye that I'm really looking forward to. They have this Artist Alley line that's out. Chris Omega, his stuff has been out. Well, they announced that artist Chrissy Zulu is going to have a line of vinyl statues. Now, Chrissy Zulu, I've been following her a really long time. I mean, not really, like, not stalking her or anything like that, but following her on social media. She's got this cute, stylized look, form that really reminds me of, like, The Little Mermaid. Awesome work. The figures, the statues that they showed were Batgirl on a scooter, Wonder Woman, and Hawkgirl. Before the show started, before Comic-Con started, they showed artwork for Supergirl at the con right now. They have an unpainted prototype. It just looks like a fun line. I'm really looking forward to it, especially that Batgirl on the scooter. But the other thing, speaking about scooters, speaking of bats, this Bat Cycle from the Batman animated series. I have long waited for this Bat Cycle. It is awesome looking. This could be in the pantheon of awesome motorcycles, the most awesome motorcycle next to a Tron Light Cycle. I mean, it's right up there. I can't wait for either one of those, all those things to come out. Keeping with DC, we'll talk a little bit about, I guess, DC Collectibles' rival, Mattel. Mattel, man, they are slow getting their product out. I don't know what the hell their story is. I live in a major metropolitan area. I live in Philadelphia. We're like the 6th biggest market in the country. I have 2 Targets around me. I have 2 Walmarts. I used to have 2 Toys R Us stores. God rest their soul. And I still have at all my stores the red carded, the red packaged Justice League movie figures. Come on, Mattel. Can we get the blue packaging wave out? Can we get it to me, please? They showed off a bunch of prototypes which look really, really awesome. Part of it, Superman from Kingdom Come. A bunch of years ago, DC Direct, DC Collectibles' predecessor, came out with a Superman from Kingdom Come based on Ed McGuinness's artist Ed McGuinness's work. At the time, I'm a big fan of Ed McGuinness, and that Superman was spot on. Mattel's Superman from Kingdom Come, not quite as Ed McGuinness looking, but still looks pretty awesome. They've got a Wally West as Kid Flash. They finally showed off their Linda Carter Wonder Woman. That looks pretty good. She comes with that, looks like a cloth cape. They've got a very cool looking Screaming Black Canary figure. But the 2 figures that I'm looking forward to, Wally West Rebirth figure. Now, Wally West, he's Flash to me. I didn't necessarily grow up with him, but he's always been Flash. But now that Barry's back, you can't have 2 guys running around in the same costume. They brought Wally back as an adult. So what they've done is they updated the costume so it's sort of a throwback to his Kid Flash costume, but still harkens to the original Flash costume where he's got the head cut out. It's silver. It's just a sharp costume. That figure, I can't wait for that one. And the other one, Starfire. Look at that Starfire figure. DC Universe. That is what Starfire looks like. Yeah, God, they missed the mark on that one so much. Anyway, let's talk a little bit about Marvel. Not much Marvel news. James Gunn. Yeah, we'll talk about James Gunn in a little bit. Let's first speak on the Into the Spider-Verse trailer. Sony has this animated Spider-Man movie coming out in December. It was announced that Nick Cage is in it. That one of my favorite comedians, very funny fuck, John Mulaney, is playing Peter Porker. Who in the God name is Peter Porker? Of course, Spider-Ham. I'm very excited about this movie. At first, the impression that I got from it was that it was going to be a Miles-centric movie, which I don't have a problem with. I was still seeing this movie because I'm a big fan of Miles Morales. But now, more and more is coming out that Peter Parker is going to be in it, Spider-Man, Spider-Gwen, who could be known as Ghost Spider. Don't be surprised if that's what she's known by in this movie. And yeah, John Mulaney as Spider-Ham. I am so happy that Sony has decided to embrace that edge of the Spider-Verse storyline. I can't wait for this movie. This is going to be a lot of fun. The other thing I want to talk about are Hasbro Marvel Legends. They announced a shit ton of new figures coming out, man. It's unbelievable. Mattel, this is how you put figures out. They announced a new throwback line. I don't know if you can catch it, but based on this original Toy Biz packaging, they've got coming out, let me see, throwback Ant-Man, throwback Wasp, Scarlet Spider, a Ben Reilly Scarlet Spider with that torn hoodie, that blue, that god-awful, and the red costume with the spider gauntlets, the whole deal, and the Black Panther. That looks like a good line. Looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. Speaking of Black Panther, we're getting a second wave from the movie. I don't know why. Excuse me. I was going to say I'm surprised, but Black Panther was uber popular. It makes perfect sense, especially since we did not get a Ulysses Claw figure, and now we are. Look at that figure. What I dig about it, one of the many things, is that shit that's coming out of his arm. We're getting a tactical suit Killmonger with that mask, with the that tribal mask coming out. We're getting a T'Challa with Chadwick Bosewick head sculpt in the vibranium suit, and of course we are going to get a T'Chaka as Black Panther figure, T'Chaka being T'Challa's dad. One of the other things that I'm really looking forward to, that whole motorcycle line that they've got going is continuing. Of course, I'm talking about the Black Widow and bike. They had a Ghost Rider on the Ghost Cycle, and they recently announced or is coming out the Wolverine on a motorcycle. Well, they've got, of course, Deadpool with his dog on a scooter. You know, look, I'm with you. Deadpool is certainly played out. You gotta love what they do with him, and I'm definitely getting that figure. I think that is everything, which brings me to 20 minutes and James Gunn. James Gunn. James Gunn, it was announced, was fired from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Of course, James Gunn directed Volume 1 and Volume 2 Guardians of the Galaxy. Right before he was supposed to go on stage at Comic-Con, not only did they announce that he was fired, Disney announced that he was fired from the movie, but they removed him from the panel. On the basis that old tweets were unearthed, some pretty despicable tweets from 2008-2009. Talked about some pretty shitty things: pedophilia, rape, AIDS, 9/11, and the Holocaust. The thing is, it's a developing story, and while these tweets are despicable, it seems like they maybe have taken out of context. Also unearthed by Gunn. James Gunn is very anti-Trump, and it turns out these tweets were unearthed by a Trump supporter trying to get him fired. Well, they did their job. They got him fired. Still, the onus is on James Gunn. Now, I know the position that I speak on these things. I know that I'm a white male. I know I have white privilege. So what I say is easy to say. I can't reiterate this enough. What James Gunn said is out of context, despicable. I know I'm out of battery. Despicable, but I thought it was plugged in. Anyway, I'm going to be wrapping up real soon anyway. Despicable, terrible things. I just wish that Disney would have, especially with Disney's history of racism. I mean, they did some pretty racist things. They just would have taken a second and not fired him, but done something a little bit different. They could have still got ahead of the story and investigated what really happened here. I'm not saying that James Gunn didn't say these things. Again, I'm not saying what he said isn't reprehensible, but it's 10 years ago, and people can and are capable of changing in a decade's time. We have all in our lives said shitty things at any given moment, especially in our youth. And we would all, none of us would be judged on anything that we said 5, 10 years ago. And to lose our positions, our jobs over it, our livelihoods over things that we may not believe anymore, that we have grown from, is a terrible thing. So I just wish that Disney could have gotten in front of that and said, James Gunn has said some pretty shitty things. Until further notice, he's suspended from all Disney projects. A full investigation will happen. Look into what happened. Look into the tweets. Look into who James is now, who he was, if there's growth, and if it shows out that he has apologized in the past. Get him some sensitivity training. Put him on an apology tour. Get in front of some some PSAs, public service announcements, and quietly put him back on the job. If it turns out that he is a creep, as big as a creep as these tweets come across from 10 years ago, then yeah, you scrub him, you get rid of him, and you never speak of him again. I just feel, again, I know my station, that zero tolerance policies hardly ever work. The world is not black and white. There is nuance. And rather than just fire the man completely, their zero tolerance policy I believe should have been, let's suspend this cat until further notice. It sucks, man. It's heartbreaking when it turns out your heroes or the people you admire or seemingly do good work turn out to be shitty individuals. I don't know James Gunn. He doesn't seem to be like Kevin Spacey level, but I don't know. I think while Disney needs to react right away, they are a public corporation. I just wish they would have reacted differently. I don't know. Anyway, we're running really long here. I'm running out of battery. So, what have we got coming up? I'm slowly bringing things back online. I have a very old, from months ago, Red Chair show that hopefully I'll have up in the next week or two. In the meantime, I've been putting out some new live shows. You should definitely catch Newsbox News Brief is back, and we are doing Devalued. I recently devalued this guy here. This is a Marvel Legends Spider-Man figure from Infinity War. It's an awesome figure. It's not really an awesome show, but you should watch it anyway. Be on the lookout for more San Diego Comic-Con coverage in the next day or so. I'm going to talk to Khalil. We'll talk about everything. You'll be sick of Comic-Con by the time I'm done with it. And that is all. I will talk to you all soonish.